Hello student, today's topic is the third order peasants, free and unfree. Free peasants held their farms as a tenant of the Lord. The men had to render military service at least 40 days every year. Peasant families had to set aside certain days of the week, usually 3 but often more, when they would go to the Lord's estate and work there. The output from such labor, called labor rent, would go directly to the Lord. In addition, they could be required to do other unpaid labor services like digging ditches, gathering firewood, building fences, and repairing roads and buildings. Besides helping in the fields, women and children had to do other tasks. They spun thread, wove cloths, made candles, and pressed grapes to prepare wine for the Lord's use. There was one direct tax called tillage that kings sometimes imposed on peasants. Serfs cultivated plots of land, but these belonged to the Lord. Much of the produce from this had to be given to the Lord. They also had to work on the land which belonged exclusively to the Lord. They received no wages and could not leave the estate without the Lord's permission. The Lord claimed a number of monopolies at the expense of his serfs. Serfs could use only their Lord's mill to grind their flour, his oven to bake their bread, and his wine presses to distill wine and beer. While members of the first two orders saw the social system as stable and unchanging, there were several processes which were transforming the system. Some of these, such as the changes in the environment, were gradual and almost imperceptible. Others were more dramatic, like the changes in agricultural technology and land use. These, in turn, were shaped by and had an effect on the social and economic ties between lords and vassals. From the 5th to the 10th centuries, most of Europe was covered with vast forest. Thus, the land available for the agriculture was limited. Also, peasants dissatisfied with their conditions could free from oppression and take refuge in the forest. Europe was undergoing an intensely cold climate spell in this period. This led to the severe and prolonged winters, a shortened growing season for crops, and reduces yields from agriculture. From the 11th century, Europe entered a warm phase. Average temperatures increased, which had a profound effect on agriculture. Peasants now had a longer growing season, and the soil, now less subjected to frost, could be more easily ploughed. Environmental historians have noted that there was a significant residing of the forest line in many parts of Europe. This made expansion of the area under cultivation possible. Initially, agriculture technology was very primitive. The only mechanical aid available to the peasants was the wooden plough, drawn by a team of oxen. This plough could at best scratch the surface of the earth and was unable to fully draw out the natural productivity of the soil. Agriculture was therefore very labor intensive. Fields had to be dug by hand, often once in 4 years, and enormous manual labor was required. Despite these hardships, the lords were anxious to maximize their incomes. Since it was not possible to increase output from the land, the peasants were forced to bring under cultivation all the land in the manorial state and spend more time doing this than they were legally bound to do. The peasants did not bow quietly to oppressions. Since they could not protest openly, they restored to passive resistance.